Hey,
oh, hi.
hey, how you doing? Welcome to Certificate. Decide the podcast on a fucking Monday, as per usual. 3-week break.
Yeah, I was
Game of
going to
Thrones
say,
over.
not so usual in the recent weeks.
Game of Thrones over, and what a whirlwind ride that was. No spoilers, but go fuck yourself. Anyway, I'm feeling broken now, and then again, I am a king. So, yeah, welcome to episode 45.
No fucking way.
Actually, that's correct. It's true.
Just had to double check that just to make sure.
Yeah, I'm here.
I'm
He's
also
queer.
here.
And we are ready to give you the news. You ready?
Yeah.
Don't bark at me. But doggy. Fucking starting off with the news. Funnily enough, we did a reaction video recently, which was, well, Rob did, which was a song chosen by me. It was Cyanide by Death Stars.
Yes.
Haven't released any music since 2015.
Yes.
Obviously, after seeing our fantastic reaction, decided Death Stars, Death Stars, have got an announcement, and they have announced they're back in the studio.
Yeah, which is pretty fucking wild.
Recording now, yeah. So they have reunited with their previous guitarist Cat Casino, and they're currently in the studio releasing their 5th album in early 2020.
Mad.
Who had 20 vision to see that coming? We've been deciphered. Yeah, so I'm excited for that. I liked old school Death Stars, not so much the newer stuff.
I liked the song that I reacted to. It was alright.
Cyanide.
Not really had much exposure to them outside of that.
No.
It'll be interesting.
Yes. In the next bit of news, Slipknot, new member update.
Yeah.
If you can call it an update.
It's none of your fucking business, says Corey and Sean.
Yep.
And I just think that is really fucking
There he is.
shit.
Could you go?
Quite frankly. Who says that to your fans?
Well, they added on that once you see the person on stage, you'll probably know. The proof is in the pudding. Now, to say that, it was not going to be someone random.
No.
So my prediction is it's Chris Fenn.
Interesting. Why? What makes you say so?
Because they say if you want to see it on stage, you might know the proof is in the pudding. That means when we see him, we'll go, oh, that's very similar to this person, or that's just like this, or that's like it's never changed.
There's a few people that have said that it's some other drummer from like a weird hip-hop rock duo thing.
Right. I mean, that's possible, but I just don't know how you get that from just seeing them on stage. Maybe.
No, me either. But then how do you get that it's Chris Fenn? That somebody could just act a lot like Chris Fenn.
It's true. That's my assumption.
Mad.
But yeah, we have literally no update other than the fact that you're not allowed to know.
Yeah, which is marvellous.
Keep predicting, bitches.
Well done, Slipknot, for just being so good to your fans.
Yes. Moving on from the news.
The topic.
Not the topic.
No, what else have we got?
Topic. Reviews.
Oh, yes, we have 2 reviews today.
On this new fortnightly planogram, we are going to have 2 reviews every week. And it's going to start off this week with fan poll. It was Rage Against the Machine with the Battle of LA and Serge Tankian with Elect the Dead. On Instagram, the results came in at 50-50. Twitter, 50-50. And then the last time I checked, well, either way, Rage won on Facebook.
Yeah.
Which proves you need to vote on all fucking 3 platforms to really have your voice heard 3 times. Obviously, how maths works. Flip nuts. What the fuck? Good shout. Oh, Slipknot. Great. So yeah, first of all, we'll go always in the order. So this time it will be the fan poll and then the fan choice.
Mm-hmm.
Next time it'll be unsigned and unsigned.
So we'll start off with Battle of LA then.
Will be Kieran and Rob. Cool. Yeah. So Battle of LA by Rage Against the Machine.
So a big part of the motivation in picking this was obviously I needed to pick something that was quite similar to Surge in terms of the political outcry.
Yeah.
And much to your dismay,
yeah,
it won. Do you want to start? I'm quite
not
eager for you
particularly.
to start.
All right. So yeah, it's not a secret that I don't like Rage Against the Machine.
It's really not.
But this is the first ever time I listened to a full album. Unsurprisingly. So we start off with Testify! Love the riff.
What? No,
Yes.
you don't.
Yeah, I do.
Okay,
I've always liked Tom Morello. He's always been the shining star of Rage Against the Machine.
Yeah, 100%.
That's where it ends. Love the riff during the chorus here. Drums get repetitive pretty quickly though. The vocals aren't as annoying as they are in other songs.
Fair. That's still punching higher than I thought you were ever going to. Yeah, it's a well-known opener. It does set a good vibe, but as a song, I think it's a bit uninspired. Like instrumentally, it's really good, but I just think lyrically, it's kind of a bit boring all the way through. But there you have it.
Yeah.
Guerrilla Radio. What do you have to say about that?
There it is. There's the whiny, annoying vocals I remember. It's just a basic and boring song. The spoken word part in the middle section was uninventive. Instrumentals were okay, but not enough to add to the track.
Mad. One of my favourite Rage songs. Reminds me of Tony Hawk's 2. Old school as fuck. And the chorus is sick. The breakdown is iconic.
Iconic is a fucking push.
It's not though.
It is. It's not even one of their biggest songs. You can't call it iconic. Whatever. Calm like a bomb. The backing track on a continuous loop gets tedious, but overall this is a better track than the two beforehand, really. The lyrics are pretty good and the drums are better.
Fair. Anything else?
No.
Yeah, another good song, but I'll admit the sort of scratch tone in the background gets a bit annoying after a while. It's a good tempo though and has the right vibe for a riot, which is kind of what the song's.
Mic check. There's a pretty cool backing track at one point. Other than that, this does nothing for me.
Yeah, and that's probably in the breakdown, which is the same thing that I basically said. I hate the opening into the verse. In fact, I hate most of the song until the breakdown. And even then, after that, it's quite samey and boring.
Yes. Sleep Now in the Fire. Great opening guitar and a pretty good track overall. Each member delivers well. Even Zach.
Damn. Yeah, iconic, nostalgic. Lyrically pretty sick. Good message, laid over the music well. I can see this being a bad one for my co-host, I put, so that's quite interesting.
Yeah, it's one of the better ones.
Interesting. I really thought that you'd the first thing that you'd say is like, and take the piss out of his voice. Because it's really quite whiny in this one.
It is super whiny the whole way through his existence. However, no, I thought it was right.
Yeah, musically, gotta hand it to him. Born of a Broken Man.
Great track. Loved it all the way through.
What?
The style changes throughout worked perfectly, and the spoken word parts were suited well to the track. Best track on the album.
Oh, that is steep. When that guitar drops, literally word for word. Although I like a lot of elements of this song, I feel more could have been done. It packs weight but drops it too frequently and drags it down a little bit. On the whole, it's good, but
Preparation H. Right now. Oh god. Born as Ghosts. Back to lower standards tracks. Back to lower standard tracks. Just quite boring and uninspiring.
Yeah, it's the same sound all the way through. The bassist must be bored as fuck, not really feeling the song at all on any level, to be honest. So done.
Maria.
Yeah, she's alright.
Now, I just want to point out on this song, I'm not underplaying any of my thoughts here. This is my exact thoughts. I want to start off by saying, fuck that 39-second long noise that starts off the fucking song. It's entirely unnecessary.
Yeah.
They fucking do it again. It's horrible to listen to. Even the Morello guitar solo, whilst skillful, just sounds bad. Easily the worst Rage Against the Machine song I've ever heard any time in my life.
Yeah, I literally just put the guitar after the verse ends. Say what you want musically, they sound great in a lot of ways in what they do. I hear so much Audio Slave in the guitar, but that's bad considering this is pre-Audio Slave. That I'm already likening it to later works, really. But yeah,
He didn't get any better, did he?
No, it's just a bit boring, really, all the way through.
Voice of the voiceless sounds very.
I agree. I completely agree.
Cześć kobieta, motherfucker. Right. Sounds very similar to a different track on the album for some parts. Not keen overall though. Too samey.
Samey.
Me? You say me.
You say you.
You.
All right.
Cool. Word games.
Yeah, I get the message. Clitoris guitar again. fucking great.
Do you say
Solid as fuck.
clitoris guitarist?
Chorus guitar,
Oh.
again, is great.
No, I'm going with the clitoris guitar.
Clitoris guitar, write it down.
Yep.
Yeah, it's great, but boring and sounds like someone is playing Game Boy through the verses.
That's Tetris.
That is Tetris, but I'm sure they did something.
New Millennium Homes. The track does absolutely nothing for me. Oh, that's literally it.
I started that sentence like I had two things to say. Yeah, I like the intro, and the music, while samey in the verse, stays good with tight drums gluing it all together, but it's samey by this point.
Ashes in the Fall. They've just thrown in irritating noises to distract us from the fact that... Let's start again. They've just thrown it in I am learning Japanese. Konnichiwa. They've just thrown in irritating noises to distract us from the almost constant annoying tones of Zach De La Rocca's vocals. Repetitive lyrics, just a bad song.
Yeah, I fucking hate this intro. My brother used to overplay this song to hell and back, and I can't stand
sorry
it.
to hear that.
Yeah, I am now.
All
It's
right.
taken a lot of therapy. No saving grace through listening to it with like a critical ear. It's just a shit song and has no right to stay in this world.
Get out of here. What
Get
are
out
you
and
doing?
walk.
Finally,
Whoa, within the brave.
War Within a Breath. Again, repetitive as fuck. Close to driving me insane. Good guitar work, though.
Again, I feel so much could have been done better. Musically, it's okay, but I'm literally over listening to this album right now.
So, this may shock you, right? I'm going to give you a spoiler alert for later on as well. Neither of these albums did I even hesitate on my number.
Interesting.
Overall, my Rizzler packet is covering it. So apparently, as I can see it here, overall, Smoking Kills quit now. Overall, this is, as expected, a bad album and something that is simply not for me. The guitars are usually good to great, and I was pleasantly surprised by Born of a Broken Man, but I cannot deal with the vast majority of the vocals. A fair amount of hate here from myself.
I can see why they appeal to their crowd, but largely this album is only saved from the slaughterhouse by the classics, and even then they can only help fetch it a 6 out of 10.
I raise you that 8 out of 10. Then I drop it by half.
Yeah.
And take away 1 and give you 3 out of 10.
Wow, savage. Mad.
Yeah, 3 out of 10. I can now say I've done it.
Yeah.
I've listened to a whole album by him.
You did good. You did good.
Thanks, man.
I'm proud.
Oh, babe. The topic.
Yes.
After my years of hearing that, I have to really discover, is rock dead? So yes, let's give the full title of what I made up on the fly. Is rock dead? That was the full title I made up. Yeah, great. That's not how I wrote down the plans last week. Well, 3 weeks ago, but yes. So
There you go.
let's give you an overview. It's a phrase we hear more and more often these days from rock legends such as Gene Simmons or pop artists such as blank, because I forgot to, didn't realize I was going to write yet. Pop legends or pop people like Adam Levine.
Oh, yeah.
Scribble that underline now to make sure his name look important. Why are we hearing this increasingly more, and does it have any? Is there any substance behind it?
Is there? I don't know. I mean, that's actually a little bit more rock than some rock.
Yeah. More on that later. So yeah, so we kind of split it into 4 subcategories, which we'll go through in order and discuss it after each one, or during each one, and everywhere around it. So we're going to start off with the state of rock 10 years ago compared to now. We'll then eventually move on to some quotes of the people that have been saying it, what we think about them, their quotes, and the kind of like the environment that they're in. If they're a pop star, are they saying it for this reason? Are they a rock star? Why are they saying it for this reason?
We're going to psychoanalyze the shit out of it.
Damn right. And then we're going to move on to what we think can be done to improve rock and metal. And then we're going to finish off with, is rock dying, dead, on its way up, better than ever, or just neutral? And then we'll give our opinions on that separately, and then either agree with it and move on, or debate. We have not discussed this whatsoever either.
No. And for a topic that we said that we had originally collab on, it's been great. But I'm interested. I'm very interested to see what you say.
Yes.
To the rock being a daydings.
So we'll tackle. So let's do the state of rock 10 years ago compared to now.
Yeah, so are we going back to 2009 specifically?
Yeah, I've gone for 2009
Yeah.
specifically, exactly 10 years. Not to
Okay.
the day,
Yeah,
but the year. So I've got a statement written here. Do you want to just read that out and do yours and confirm?
Yeah, absolutely.
Right, so the state of rock 10 years ago compared to now. Okay, so 2009 didn't exactly bring us an amazing year for music. Green Day released the 21st Century Breakdown, which really marked the beginning of their downfall, as an example. But 2009 did have its pros too. Five Finger Death Punch released their sophomore album, War is the Answer, and Gallows did the same with Grey Britain. More bands were starting to make their rise into popularity. Bands such as Arsenal Alexandria, Bring the Horizon, Hailstorm, and Architects all releasing albums in 2009, or living through the success of an album released the year before. That'd be Bring Me. It's safe to say music in rock and metal was doing well at this point overall. The next era of metalcore was on the rise, forming the start of the hardcore scene we know today. Modern giants like Slipknot and Avenged Sevenfold were at the top of their game, although tragedy would strike both bands within the year or next, with Jimmy the Red Sullivan and Paul Gray both sadly passing away.
Yeah, so I definitely noted that. Rest in peace, Jimmy the Red Sullivan.
Yeah, sure.
28th of December.
Indeed.
Yeah, so very nearly made it into the next year.
Yeah. So both tragedy would strike both bands within the next year. So how does this compare to the current music scene? Well, both modern metal giants still remain the top. Still remain at the top spots, with Slipknot releasing a new album this year, and Avenged obviously on their way to making a new album. Rammstein return with a stellar new album. Tool are making a long-awaited return. Rock is being well promoted, perhaps better than ever through magazines and podcasts, but is that enough? On that later. And we can discover new bands every day with the help of streaming services. Unfortunately, one of the top rising scenarios that seem to be happening actually comes from some of the bands mentioned above, who pushed the new era of metalcore to its mid-2010 heights, have seemingly turned their collective backs on metalcore or any genre of rock and metal at all. I'm talking about bands such as While She Sleeps and predominantly Bring the Horizon. More on them later, as I've stated in writing. Does this add to the thought that rock is dead when even rock stars are turning away from it?
Bravo.
Okay.
So I kind of wanted to start out by pointing out that the years leading up to 2009 gave way to some fairly major changes in rock and metal. So people were moving away from that sort of grungy hard rock themed music and into metalcore, and that's sort of, like you said, started taking its evolution to how we come to know it nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
So bands like Linkin Park were beginning to properly solidify their spot in sort of legendary status. Already, obviously for us, way up there, but you know, in terms of like the actual mainstream public, that was kind of around the sort of time when they were really solidly starting to make it. Slipknot headlining major festivals for the first time, and making their leap. Like I said, rest in peace, Jimmy the Red Sullivan. Architects released Daybreaker, a pinnacle album for their subsequent upswing. Obviously, for fans of the band, you and I, Daybreaker was a great album for me when it first came out.
Daybreaker, what are you talking about?
That was 09.
That was Hollow Crown, I'm sure.
No.
You certain?
No. I'm not now.
I'll let you Google it.
I feel like Daybreaker was around then. I could be completely wrong. Maybe Daybreaker is actually a lot later and I've completely hit stop. But yeah, on the whole, if you're a rock and metal fan, 10 years ago our scene was alive and well. Just as well as it always had been. Changing, but more on how rockers deal with change soon.
Yeah, rock's always evolving in a way, but whether it's for the better or the worse.
I died. It was 2012, so yeah, Hollow Crown.
It was 2009.
Yeah, there you are. So yeah, and that was obviously kind of a breakthrough album for them.
Yeah.
They'd released 2 albums without Sam before then. Or 1 album with Sam, 1 album without, I can't remember.
No, both without, I believe.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Nightmares definitely wasn't Sam.
Wasn't with him, and then Ruin may have been with him.
Either way, they hadn't really made it at that point. So yeah, 10 years ago, our scene was alive and well. However, end of year Billboard 100 doesn't see its first rock band until number 10, and this is back in 2009.
Right.
So the Billboard, like the end of year Billboard 100. So these are the top 100 songs that charted that year. End of Billboard 100 doesn't see its first rock band until number 10, which was Gives You Hell by All American Rejects. Exactly. So, out of 100 charting songs, guess how many were of a rock/metal?
6.
Yeah, bang on.
Really?
Yeah.
That's a favorite number.
Literally bang on. Only 6 of them were rock and metal. So do you feel that number would be higher or lower nowadays? Is my first question to you.
I feel like it'd be higher.
Yeah?
But that is because I feel like the confines of rock have moved out of it.
Yeah, okay. So you solidly think higher?
Higher, yeah.
So, granted, I could only do it for last year because obviously we're not at the end of 2019 yet. 2018, 2 bands, if you're willing to count Imagine Dragons, which I'm not.
I would count them as rock. After a long debate where I state they weren't rock, I got my mind changed about 6 months ago.
Okay, so even if you do count them, 2 bands.
Yeah.
In the end
Who
of
was
year
the other?
Billboard 100 last year. The Fray.
Cool.
Yeah. 2 bands.
Yep.
So what does that say?
Doesn't look good, does it?
It does not look good.
But pushing that is that to say that rock is obviously we'll move on to this main point at the end, but touching on the charts, we don't necessarily need the charts. I mean, it obviously doesn't necessarily mean sales are down. It just means sales are up for other genres. Another thing I'll get to later.
Yeah. 100%. We will cross that.
Yeah.
It's funny that you mentioned streaming as well, because streaming is something that
goes towards charts.
It does, yeah. And for some reason, rappers can make it as streamers. Rock and metal artists seem to argue that they can't. And I'm keen for us to psychoanalyze why that is. But we will get there. So, overall then, are we sort of agreed 10 years ago, scene was alive and well?
Yeah.
Nowadays, I think it still feels like it is for us, but that's a biased opinion. Because we're well and truly, we've got our face stuck in that kind of area. Whereas if you were new to music altogether, would it actually be just as accessible as it was 10 years ago?
I think it's easier if you know rock already. It's easier to find because you spend £10 a month. You've got Spotify. You can listen to anything you want, apart from Tool. And
there was talk that they were going to make a Spotify, but they still haven't.
They have made a Spotify. They changed their profile picture recently, but have added no music.
Okay, that's great.
I'm assuming when this new album comes out, they'll add it all onto there, hopefully.
That's what you download Spotify for, you see, is just to look at one picture of a band.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, yeah, I would agree that back in 2009, 10 years ago, music was in rock and metal was thriving. New genres were coming out, and yeah, granted, we live in an era now of genres that there's like 50,000 different fucking metal style genres because that's needed. Yeah, interesting as we go on. So, anything to add on that first point?
No, I think that's a pretty good analysing of the last 10 years.
So I've got a bunch of quotes. I'm hoping I don't just use all yours. I'm not sure if you've got how many you've got. But
well, I'll get started with Primal Scream Frontman because I get the feeling that's something that we'll both probably have. Bobby Gillespie.
Because you made this quote 2 days ago.
Yeah, literally 2 days. Which is disgusting, really, because he says grime and hip hop is much sexier. A lack of sex symbolism means rock is dead.
Yeah.
I'm paraphrasing the second part of that, but his exact words at one point were grime is much sexier than rock and roll.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
So for a longer quote from him, rock is dying like Latin and no longer has the inventiveness, sex and danger of rap and grime. There's no interesting characters in rock. He understands why young people are more interested in grime because it's much sexier. Rock is like Latin, it's a dying language, it's old and has nothing left to say.
That's disgraceful.
I mean, is he wrong about grime being sexier? I mean, I'm wrong. I don't find grime sexy. I find the dulcet, fucking beautiful tones of a guitar to get me going.
100%.
Musically.
No, I'm going to disagree with him 100% because really, to me, grime is just trampier. That's basically how I would.
Fucking shit, yeah.
That's basically how I would put it, really, is that since when has music been about, like, sex symbolism anyway?
Everything about rock 40 years ago.
Drugs.
Drugs and women.
Sex, drugs, rock and roll, that whole kind of thing. Yeah, okay, but actually, if the music was shit, people still wouldn't have listened to it just because people are taking drugs.
Yeah, but I've seen about bands like Motley Crue who base their entire careers on sex.
Yeah, and they're definitely not the only ones, but I think if Motley Crue sounded truly dreadful, they still wouldn't have gotten anywhere, despite how much they want to sing about sex.
I'd say like possibly grime is sexier in terms of maybe I don't watch grime videos. I know that Stormzy stood in the park with a bunch of kids and told everyone to shut up for quite a while. But other than that, maybe there's like scantily clad women in their videos,
Scantily clad.
which would make them sexier. But I don't care to see. Like, if they're there, great. But I don't care if my music is for my ears, not my eyes.
Yeah, exactly. One thing that I would say is Motley Crue might have developed a career out of that 40 years ago or 30 years ago, whatever, right? But the women that were in their videos would have probably paid them to be in their videos, whereas grime artists nowadays literally have like a budget to hire women to take half of their clothes off and be in their music videos.
Yeah.
So is grime actually sexier, or is it just there's more money to prostitute people, basically? Like,
Strong word, but yeah. I get your point. I mean, if you want a sexy video, go and check out Rammstein's Pussy. Pussy by Rammstein, not Rammstein's Pussy.
I mean, it's not far off. But...
No. Next quote. I hope you've got more than this because I feel like this is a massive character. I only found a tiny quote from him. Gene Simmons from Kiss,
Yeah.
obviously legendary status. All I could find was Rock is dead. He has been murdered by file sharing.
Yeah, file sharing era killed rock and roll, and that is pretty much it. That is pretty much all he said on the matter. But it sparked a massive thing. He said that back in 2014, and it sparked a massive thing because other Kiss members followed suit, and then other band members from different bands started following suit. But this is where I sort of wanted to raise this question with you. Why are rappers able to flourish if this is the case? Because you get rappers that are fucking minted from the amount of, like, Drake earns most of his money from streaming. So why are rappers able to make a perfectly good living out of it, but rock and metal isn't?
The fan base is so much bigger.
But that's just it. So it's got nothing to do with file sharing or streaming as a whole. It's got everything to do with the fact that the fan base is dwindling. Otherwise, if fucking Stormzy and Kiss had the same size fan base, if anything, I would probably fucking say that Kiss have a bigger fan base. So what the fuck is that all about? How can you say, well, there's file sharing in it? That's
but
what
maybe he's talking about newer bands.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, Kiss can't really complain about their fucking...
I know.
They've got enough money, they've got enough fans, they can shut the fuck up, but... Yeah, for newer bands, I would definitely say so. I mean, we'll come around to some of that in a bit, because actually, I've got a few things about newer bands that prove that it is still very possible. Very few of them, in comparison to all of these fucking trap artists that are coming out at the minute.
It's a trap.
It's a trap. But yeah, I just thought that was a good question, really. Like, why are rappers able to flourish through file sharing and streaming if nobody else is? I don't really get it. Let me kill Mister. Feels like we're waiting for something, maybe the death of rock and roll, you know? Get off your phone, boy! Sorry.
Who, sorry?
Lemmy.
Okay.
Yeah, feels like we're waiting for something, maybe the death of rock and roll, you know?
Very vague quote. That's the problem.
It is. To me, that basically means, like, it feels like either something's about to give and rock and metal's about to go through the fucking roof again.
Hi, Pickering.
Or not.
Yeah. It's it's not really much you can say on that. I mean, awkward for him as well.
Roger Daltrey from The Who. The only ones with anything interesting to say are the rappers.
I don't agree.
I definitely disagree with that. Rappers have fuck all interesting to say most of the time. Granted, he seems to be referring to people like fucking Lil Peep, is it? That talk about suicide and shit, and then...
It's not suicidal, actually there are a lot of suicidal ones, but lots to speak about politics and suicide, and that is interesting to hear about.
It's not interesting to hear about from the side of it of like, all of this shit's happening in the world, so let's just get drugged up, fucked up, and go and drink our troubles away because it's sad to be alive nowadays. That is generally what I find a lot of rappers bitching and whining about now at the
Mm.
minute.
Yeah,
Especially
fair.
rappers from that kind of scene, like Lil Peep and fucking. I don't even know. Half of them have got such fucking stupid names. Like
Oh,
XXX Tactician or whatever his fucking name is.
Tactish.
I don't fucking know what his name is.
Nation, I think it was.
You got me
Tenacity.
beat. Tenacity D.
Well, my rap levels are high. I come from Birmingham. I like to eat lemon.
Hi.
Eat lemon.
Hi.
Birmingham.
You're a rapper. You're supposed to rhyme.
I did rhyme.
No, you didn't.
Lemon and Birmingham. Don't quote me. Jack Black from ESD.
Yeah, go on.
I contend, to slightly paraphrase, but it's basically a quote. I contend that the last band to have that power, Beatles level style power, was Nirvana. Who since Nirvana has been as big as Nirvana? That's him basically quoting like, no one's getting to the heights of the old rock stars. Is it dying out?
True. To be fair.
I get it, but not a push towards rock dying.
It's not, no, because.
And I still contend that if he didn't kill himself, they wouldn't be nearly as big as they are now.
Which, yeah, I'd probably agree. We wouldn't have Foo Fighters, who are a massive band that you need to think about in that sense, really. Like, just because they're not plastered all over the fucking like billboards and stuff, that Foo are still a massive band. They'll still sell out arenas if they play.
Sure.
So yeah, it's quite strange, really. Have you got any other quotes?
Got a bunch, yeah.
Yeah, go for it. Shoot on.
Ollie Sykes from Bring the Horizon. Rappers are almost the new rock and roll or punk or whatever.
Ugh.
Rock's gone soft, it's gone miserable and boring. There's not really much exciting about it. So it's more important that we, Bring Me, cross over because we feel like we belong more in a place where people just like music and it's not about how heavy it is. You sold out. You went and did pop. Like, you left our scene and now you're like, oh, rock's dead, now we've left. Like, fuck off. You're not helping the scene at all. You can't comment.
Yeah, in that sense, I almost want to say, all right, bye.
Richard Z. Krusp from Rammstein. The rise of hip hop is killing rock because guitars are not annoying anymore. Rock is dead. It's sad, I know it is, but sometimes you kind of have to make peace with the reality.
Mad.
Adam Levine from Maroon 5. Imagine Dragons, One Republic, Coldplay, and Maroon 5. There's your category for best group in the Grammys Rock Act. The Grammys had to change the fucking category because there weren't any bands. Now any featured artist can make it. God damn it, we cornered the market, then you fucked us, Grammys. Rock music is nowhere really. And finally, my last quote is from Sat Bisler, who is from A&R Worldwide. They're not a band. He works in A&R, I guess. It's not that rock is dying, it's more that other genres are exploding.
Which
I fully agree with.
Yeah. I think there's an argument for both. I would say with other genres exploding, you run the risk of the next generation beyond us being sort of, mostly hip hop, maybe with a few rock bands that they like, and then the generation after that being mostly hip hop with maybe one rock song that they like. If trends continue that way, eventually you are going to cut it out. You think about it, right? Alright, so let's say you have two daughters, and they both have kids. After you're gone, your daughters have got some of your influence from your music taste because you'll have rammed some fucking metal down their throats when they were kids, and some of it will stick. But let's say by the by, they're largely like their pop, hip hop, or whatever.
That's where you turn that into an assumption that they probably like pop, but then their kids might just like pop as well. And really, it takes one of them to go, I fucking love this, I'm grasping onto it, and then one of their kids might. And eventually, you can't assume that someone's it's gonna die out because of the generations of people.
I don't really necessarily
not all
think
my
it's
kids
like
are gonna
an
like
assumption.
rock.
No, definitely not. But
probably, if I have 3 kids, probably one of them will, and the other 2 won't. It's usually the case, like kind of like backlash against what your parents like.
Yeah.
But I think it is an assumption either way to think that as generations go on.
So I already
rock
feel
will
like it's
die out.
happening. So it's not necessarily like.
How would you say it's happening? Rock's only been in the genre for like what, 60, 70 years?
Only.
Yeah, but that's not many generations. That's 3. Like, I'm not gonna like out of me and my brothers and my sister, we all like rock, right? My mum and dad were not rock fans. My mum likes Prodigy, obviously. Like, my sister's on the other side of the family and wasn't raised by my mum or my dad, my real dad. Long story. He's not a rock fan apart from Queen.
Okay.
Right? We all turned into little metalheads. Me more than anyone else because I'm fucking brilliant. But to assume that the next generation just not going to like rock, nah.
I mean, yeah, I've kind of put, outside of journalists quick to argue the corner of rap and hip hop, it seems as though rockers are actually the main ones that feel this way. One notable force to give mention to at the minute are Greta Van Fleet.
Yeah.
That is proof that even when people are like, even when rock stars are basically saying that their genre is dead, a rock band will come along and take the world by storm a little bit. They're kind of doing it under the radar. It seems like they're big, obviously, and like they get some publicity through like the press and stuff. But generally, I mean, since we reviewed them and since we were looking into them specifically, have you heard much about Greta?
No.
No, but they are still selling out massive shows, and playing shows like supporting massive like legendary rock stars. So, you know, they've kind of slingshotted to a very high spot in a very short time, alongside bands like Broken Whip Rebels, believe it or not, are another band that we reviewed. I think
Reaction, yeah.
Yeah, we did like a little comparison after we finished watching that between them and Kings of Leon because they sound very, very similar. Another band that are flying under the radar but are still getting big pretty quick in their scene.
What, Broken Whip Rebels? What did you say so?
Yeah.
Well, it was all tiny.
No, look into it. Honestly, they're on a pretty steep incline at the minute. It could stop at any point. That's the thing. But
there's loads of bands that you could say that. Heart of a Coward shot up pretty quickly back when they were smaller. Hacktivist did the same.
Yeah. They're two bands that I would say kind of had their rise come pretty quickly and then it stunted. Like Hacktivists, I don't know. I like what they've done so far. I'm not overly excited for the future of them, purely because they've been, I don't know, they've kind of like squandered their spot for a minute. They could earn it back 100%. They could bring out a couple of new singles that are like, wow, okay, that's fucking sick. But at the minute, everything that I've heard of them in recent times has been like, meh. I feel like I've already heard it.
Yeah, fair.
Same with Heart of Coward.
I don't know the band well enough to comment on Heart of a Coward.
Fair. Yeah, just that kind of, again, it's like escaping the niche, really. You can find popularity by being a band that do like really heavy tech metal riffs with rap over the top, but after you've done an album or two of it, people are like, okay, what's next? I feel like that is something that rappers do have over rock and metal. Rappers can always be like, what's next? Okay, let's do this. We haven't done that. Okay, let's do that. There seems to be more scope to evolve in rap in some ways.
I disagree, but that's more. I think there's an equal scope to fuck around and experiment. Bands like, well, I'm obviously gonna fucking say it. Bands like Avenged have experimented with every album, but I feel like rock bands get too comfortable in their slot.
Yeah, that's probably a better way of putting it. The scope is there for both of them. Rappers utilize it.
I mean, like there's a young woman who's getting very big through a meme at the moment. Also, she's a pretty big artist anyway, and that's Billie Eilish. Have you seen those memes?
Is she the one like rolling around on like a little trike or something like that? Yeah,
might seduce your dad type. I'm the bad guy.
I've not actually. So many people have obviously posted up little snippets of the video. I've not listened to a single snip of it.
Have you not? I decided to check out the full track and video just because I was interested. Like, she actually got some darker songs with music videos where she's like bleeding black from the eye.
Okay.
And like, but she's unique. I've not heard anything like that before. Not to my knowledge anyway. They might be out there, but it's not really the kind of music I go to. She's like seen as like the anti-pop star. Like it's kind of pop music in a way,
right?
But she's like the anti version of it. Like I'm different and fuck you. She's only 17 as well.
Fair.
So she's getting big places very early in her life. But yeah, she's actually alright. But so I can see how there's more scope in that sense. But yeah, rock stars need to try it out more.
Yeah.
But I don't mean this in terms of everything. It seems when rock stars trying to make a change, they either go one of two ways. They do a Bring Me Horizon While She Sleeps and just go fuck this pop music, or they do a Papa Roach and Korn and just go dubstep. I know Korn have obviously reverted back.
Yeah.
But Papa Roach has gone to shit.
Yeah. 100%.
Like, we'll just add dubstep. Everyone loves dubstep, right? No.
No, not everyone loves dubstep.
I want you to still use some skill.
Yeah, I mean it's fair to say like the legendary bands like Metallica are still safe in what they do purely because they've got that status behind them now. Nobody really wants Metallica to experiment at this point because they've got enough people that appreciate them for what they already do. But it is something that I feel like, even though, like you mentioned a minute ago, the scope for both genres to expand and evolve is there, I feel like rap's kind of stuck in that trap thing at the minute, but you can bet your ass in a couple of years it will change again. And that's something that you can actually like safely bank your money on. Whereas with rock and metal, I feel like it's not necessarily something that a lot of artists want to do.
I don't know. Every time it seems to be dying out. Like one of the biggest times where people talk about rock is dead was just before nu metal came about, and that went not against metal, but it's not exactly metal, is it?
No.
And it helped revive the scene. There was a lot more interest going on. Lots of rap fans became fans of rock because of the mixture, and lots of rock fans became fans of rap because of the mixture. It happened again with metalcore, not as large of a scale, but when metalcore really burst out, that was another revival of rock because it was a massive thing.
So I've got some honourable mentions anyway. So just a few things that I wanted to just get a brief opinion from yourself on. Rappers like Post Malone saying that they will keep rock alive. How do you feel?
I start making rock then.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know he's a massive fan of rock, and that's cool. Don't call yourself a rock star if you're not making rock music.
Especially don't write a song calling yourself a rock star.
Yeah, it's like Kanye West, where he's like, I'm the biggest rock star to have ever lived. Whilst
No,
just before performing Bohemian Rhapsody or whatever it was by Queen, like, mate, fuck off. You're not keeping rock alive at all. You're just hindering it.
You're making people literally want to convert to
Islam.
Wow. I was going to say Church of Scientology, but you win. Bands like Foo Fighters still insanely popular. We kind of touched on that, but festivals. Festivals is something that I wanted to touch upon here. So I have a question. What do you feel about, or how do you feel about the longevity of rock and metal when you think about Download, Slam Dunk? So Slam Dunk this year did their first open air festival outside. Expanded, evolved, much bigger, and seems to have done really well. Grass Pop, Rock am Ring, all of the above, and etc. etc. So these festivals are still going really strong.
Yeah.
How do you feel like that factors in, like, to the longevity? Like, do you feel like
They are aiding the situation.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that the question?
Yeah, essentially, but like,
how do I feel like festivals will
yeah.
last?
So when we're sort of thinking about the topic, like, is rock dead? When you think about, okay, so what about these festivals that are still just as popular as ever, if not selling more tickets every year and expanding like Slam Dunk have?
Yeah,
Like,
it's showing that there's
yeah.
the rock fans, but the thing is we're getting less and less given to us. We're not getting. I'll go into radio plays later on, but as rock fans, we get tours quite a lot, which is great. But festivals are pinnacle in seeing a hell of a lot of bands live, and even more so discovering new bands by seeing them live. So they're great, and I believe they're helping rock stay alive.
Yeah. Cool. Very much the end of my So Who Says Rock is Dead segment.
And I agree as well.
With what? West is a rapper, no rocker. Yeah, 100%.
Cool. So going on to our penultimate section of what can be done to improve rock and metal.
Yeah.
So honestly, there isn't much we can personally do to improve rock and metal music. I said rock and music, but I meant to write rock and metal. I feel that the media can do a lot more to normalise our music genres. For example, when a rock album gets the #1 spot, don't fucking ignore it and then play a track from the #2 album. I'm referring here to when Hail to the King went to #1 in 2013 in the UK charts. They announced it that they had beaten Arcade Fire off the top spot, and then after they announced it, played a track from Arcade Fire's album. It fucking angered me so much that they wouldn't play Avenged because they were too heavy. And it was Hail to the King, for fuck's sake.
Yeah, it's like the least heavy.
Yeah, like just stick on that track to once ever. You'd have to play that, right? Unless they stay the second time in a row. But even then, like I would understand because it's the second week in a row. They've just become for the first time in their life in the UK charts #1, and you're just going to take that away from it. I think it's bullshit, and it stands for any band in rock and metal, whether I like them or not. By getting more media plays such as radio, more people will be introduced to the scene. It will help end the weirdness of teens and kids in school listening to it. I remember like being a teenager at school and listening to metal, and it's all weird. It's like, oh, I've never heard this before. What's all this screaming shit? Like if you played a bit more, just a touch in the radio during the day or in the evening that aren't part of the Rock's radio station. I don't mean like fucking Gorgoroth or
Die Art is Murder or some shit
just
like
stick
that.
on like the odd Slipknot track, the odd Alter Bridge, like a bit of fucking rock. Yeah, a bit of screaming sometimes, but not.
What's wrong with Dead Memories? That's a fucking prime example of
Yeah.
a song that's got like enough of the gruff vocals in it that you can tell that they're a heavy band, but this is just a particularly soft song for them.
Yeah, it would basically make more people. Yeah, it would introduce. Hello, Bartlett. It would introduce more people to
Sada.
the scene, but it would also, on top of that, like make kids that are feel like maybe a little bit alone listening to this kind of shit less alone. Like they can go, I heard this on the radio. Okay, great. And also they're discovering why they do it as well.
Yeah, 100%. I think it is great that there are some rock stations, like there are some radio stations that do have like days dedicated or like evening slots dedicated to purely rock.
Yeah, but they're like the digital shit. I mean, like the only mainstream. I only mean BBC Radio 1.
Yeah.
Finally, unfortunately, hard rock / metal is still treated as the embarrassing genre, which is frustrating with the talent and skill involved in it.
Yeah, 100%. There's more talent than being able to fucking use a mixing desk to do all of your shit. But there you go. So after doing a bit of digging, it became abundantly obvious that many rappers claim it's because of originality or hype that they're as popular as they are.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, a large amount of it can be attributed to the money involved.
Here comes the money.
There is a lot more money slung at rap.
Yeah,
and they can therefore throw marketing out of their arsehole left, right, and centre. Hey presto, you've got more views and listens and everything else. It is abundantly clear that rap has more money than rock through sales, marketing, and deals. So I have another question for you. Do you feel as though some gaps in success between the two genres can be attributed to hip hop's quick to sell record deals behaviour? So by that I mean rockers, there are a fair amount of bands, your favourite band being a prime example, that would rather not sell their music out and would literally go to court with their record label over disputes and things like that. Obviously, I know we'll go into more detail when you eventually do the special.
Fisher.
So we won't touch on like the in-depth too much, and I know that it's probably not just about like, hey, we want you to make 3 more albums with us, here's some money, and they were like, no. It might not be as simple as that, but rappers very much are the type of people that do that. They'll be like, yeah, okay, I'll make three records with this. I don't care how good my records are because I've already been paid to do it. Like rappers are very quick to sign those kind of deals, whereas like rock and metal artists are very much like, it should be about our music. Why don't you pay us when, like,
we'll take our time, kind of thing.
Yeah.
What was the initial question? Sorry.
So, like, do you feel that some of the gaps in success between the two genres can be attributed to the fact that rock and metal artists will probably be more inclined to be like, I want to take my time making my music, whereas rappers will be like, yeah, cool, just give me the money?
I mean, more. What's the word I'm looking for? Any publicity is good. Obviously, releasing more albums is great because you have more content for your live shows and shit like that. But if your quality is going to be shit because you're rushing it, then don't fucking do it. That's why I agree. That's where I would agree with rock and metal. I don't think the quality of standards is too far different between the two. And I'm sure rap artists have the same issues with management too, where they're just like, dude, chill the fuck out, kind of
100%,
thing.
yeah.
Now.
So,
yeah.
Do you not feel like any of it can be attributed then? Like any of that gap in success between the two?
Not massively, because I feel like with rap fans, they release a lot of music, but also, rap artists release a lot of music, but the fans can very quickly switch. They have their favourite artist, but they can quickly switch on to another artist, where I feel rock fans are a lot more dedicated to the bands than rap fans are. And that way, you've got your 10 favourite bands, and you're willing to wait a bit longer. Whereas rap fans just get bored and move on.
Yeah, I mean, especially if you're Tool, still having a fucking massive fan base after taking like 11 years to write a fucking album.
Yeah.
Yeah, looking at hip hop, there's also been a clear and distinct evolution, as we were talking about a minute ago. Rock and metal doesn't really seem to have that ease of change about it. Even some of the rock stars that we mentioned earlier that are already making comments about how rock is already dead. A lot of them say that there's no image, there's no originality, and it hasn't been seen for very many years. So what I wanted to kind of know as well is like when they say that that there's no originality in image or sound, what are they actually really referring to with that? Because I wouldn't say Kiss are original. Maybe somewhat in their image, but their
You've got to
music
think about the
sounds
time
quite
they came out.
yeah.
And I'd
But
say they were fairly.
but they're saying this about bands that are coming out nowadays, whereas I feel like if they were still an active band, what have they actually done to change? How are they evolving? You can't really point at another band and be like, yeah, you see, you're not evolving enough. You're not getting with the times enough, and that's why you're failing. If you're literally going to be the same trick fucking pony for
Because they
50
know
years.
they'll sell by not changing. It's the exact same thing with Slayer. There's no point in Slayer changing because their fans would set on that. Mm-mm-mm. However, people, I stick to the point that bands should change. Just maybe got the newer bands the last 20 years, not bands that have already made their name as their sound.
Mad. So yeah, that was pretty much it. So, have you got anything else?
Not in that part, no.
So we move on then to
The
how
final
we
bit.
personally feel.
So yes, is rock dying, dead, on the way up, better than ever, neutral? You messaged me yesterday saying you're interested to see my point on this part, which makes me scared. So, my closing statement is my opinion. Wow. Rock is far from dead, but it definitely has its issues. Mainstream media doesn't care whatsoever. Scuzz no longer exists, and that was a big thing for UK fans anyway.
Yeah.
In a lot of metalheads' lives when they were discovering new bands when they were younger. We still have magazines and podcasts, but they can be more aimed at already existing rock and metal fans, not new fans. I wouldn't tune into this if I wasn't already a fan of rock.
Yeah.
Why would I? So it's hard to get new fans. Whereas Scuzz, you turn it on, and go, oh, that's pretty cool. Oh, I like this one. This one's shit. Whilst you have the Bring Me the Horizons of our scene abandoning their sound, that makes rock look bad as if it's dying. But when you really look down to the core of rock and metal, it's actually doing well for itself. There's a plethora of new bands coming up, and that flow isn't stopping.
Yeah, that's fair. I pretty much agreed with you actually for the most part. So I think for now there will always be people like us that love our genre and keep it alive enough to be enjoyed. It's after we go that I fear the fabric of the genre rests on the shoulders of the youth that just don't really care much for it at this point in time.
Right.
So that is obviously subject to change. I feel neutral for now, essentially.
Okay.
So I don't necessarily feel like it's dying. I don't feel like it's on a rise either, though. At this point, I feel like it's kind of settled where it is for now. Thinking sort of future-mindedly, I'm kind of scared, but not at the same time. I think there'll always be a place.
Right. Yeah, I'd agree.
But yeah, hopefully it's not a genre that's destined to be in the history books in years to come.
No. So we somewhat agree.
Yeah.
So there's no need for debate there. I thought you would say rock's dead. I'm like,
Fuck that.
You sit down, boy. Cool. Good chat.
Yeah, man.
Well done.
It's an interesting little talk.
Yeah, I liked it. Anyway, let's finish off the review.
Yes. So as we said earlier, we have 2 reviews for you lucky people today.
Yeah. This is the second. And it was a fan pick. Before we go into that, you can pick what albums to review, unsigned or not, by going into our notes section and commenting on the note, the top one that says things we should review.
It's a note.
This one was picked by someone I'm familiar with, Sophie Ray.
Oh wow, I'm quite familiar with Sophie Ray.
Yes. All of her.
Wow.
Yeah, so this is Mr. Bungle with
Mr. Bungle. And I should point out as well that the girl doesn't know a single fucking song from this album and purely picked it because she wanted to know what egg meant when you and Hayley were going on about it a few weeks back. Quite a few weeks back, I think. Pinkly Smooth week.
Yeah, long ago.
And that would fit, quite frankly, because...
Egg.
Should we get started?
Yes, off you pop.
So, quote unquote.
Right now, for doing quotes.
Yeah. I was expecting odd, but still shocked me. When it eventually drops, it's like a circus of nightmares, and Mikey Patton is definitely the most fitting circus master. It's actually oddly great, even the weirdness at the end.
Yeah, almost immediately you can tell that this is going to be weird as shit. 2 minutes in, we already go through 3 drastic style changes. Only gets weirder towards the end with the creepy noises, including laughing, whispering, possible choking,
Yeah.
and then randomly into a horn, then a train. Either way, it's fucking fucked up, but I like it.
Yeah. Slowly growing deaf, which I was not at this point of the album. What the fuck just happened? I can't comprehend everything that's going on right now. They even managed to make a blistering solo fit into the mix. It's okay, but borderline weird for the sake of weird in some ways, I feel.
Okay, yeah.
Still good, just kind of like, you could tell that it was with Pinkly Smooth, and I hate to compare a different band that we're not reviewing at this point in time, but I am going to say it. With Pinkly Smooth, it was like weird because it was naturally fucking weird.
Yeah.
And that's what I loved about it. This is almost like weird for the sake of being weird.
Yeah, I'd agree.
That's pretty much all I've got that's even slightly negative to say at this point.
Cool. Yeah, slowly growing deaf. A softer start showing Patton's skill to easily adjust to an array of styles. Of course, it kicks off into craziness again. The track ends with the sound of a man taking a shit, then some odd rambling.
Squeeze Me Macaroni.
Yes, please.
Reminds me of early Chili Peppers in the beginning, which is fucking weird. Knick Knack Paddywhack.
Knick Knack Paddywhack.
So
Give a dog a
weird, man. What the fuck is going on? Seriously, it's well done, but sometimes I just felt like I couldn't deal with how fucking wild it is. But yeah, it's really well done. I enjoy it.
So I literally started off Squeeze Me Macaroni with Knick Knack Paddywhack.
Yeah, 100%. It's got to be done.
An upbeat track that continues the madness with screeches near the beginning. There's a lot going on at once, especially towards the end. The last minute or so is just chanting and shouting into synth, into talkings of tight cheeks. That dragged longer than necessary, but it's a fun track.
Fair. Carousel. It's a very fitting name. Maybe Carousel from Hell might have been a little bit more fitting. I can see a show with these guys and Pinkly Smooth on acid being the scariest fucking thing in the world. I'm just going to throw that out there now. The last 40 seconds freaked me the fuck out. I'm not gonna lie. The last 40 seconds of this song proper had me like getting goosebumps and feeling very, very scared for my life. But I'm really enjoying the album by this point.
Good, six.
It's all right.
So yeah, Carousel is actually quite a tame track in comparison to everything beforehand. It's a good track. It's not boring, but I guess it lacks the craziness we've come to expect, and that's the pull with this band. However, I still enjoy the track.
Fair. Egg. Wow, I hate myself for acknowledging how good this is.
Chicken's out for an egg.
Seriously, listen to this fucking song. If it's the only song in this entire album that you listen to, please listen to this song. I hated myself for acknowledging how good it actually is. I'll check myself into the ward now. I just have no words. Like, why, when halfway through when he's like singing backwards, I think it's like the second verse.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, possibly, when you get those like fucking things where they're like misheard lyrics or whatever, or like when they play in reverse, like you did earlier with the second. Oh mate, fucking! There was even one for a Frosties advert back in the day. I'll see if I can find it and send you it. It's hilarious. Yeah, there was like the second verse when he was like doing that. Like, it's just like, wouldn't it be cool if we just did this verse backwards? Sure, let's just throw that in. Like, what the fuck?
I'm certain they were fucked off their tits.
Drugs, man. Yeah, I literally put that as well. Drugs. The manic laughter, crying / screaming. I'm just so bewildered. Outro is unnecessarily drawn out though.
Yeah, so this is the one song I heard before this review. It's a very upbeat track once again. It has some of the best grooves on the album. The upbeat track suddenly falls into this eerie no place like home repeat system. There's no place like home.
Yeah, nah.
No place like. Which is at times creepy, at times funny. Unfortunately, the last 3 fucking minutes of this song, of this 10-minute, 40-second song, is just random, pointless background noise with a few seconds of spaceship-style noise at the end.
Yeah, and it is a repeating theme that we see quite a lot through the remainder of this album. So we move on to a Stubber Dub. Sophie Ray says, Rob legit stared at me like 10 fucking minutes. Yeah, I literally did. Cool, Stubber Dub. Sounds like a fairy fountain from Zelda for a brief second there, before the mushrooms set in. Thanks, Mom. That bit fucking proper threw me. There's like one bit in the verse where he's just like, thanks, Mom. It just reminded me of the Simpsons thing. Thanks, Mom. So, mate, I'm never doing drugs ever in my life because I will have
obviously not.
no,
That'd be
yeah.
crazy.
I would just have far too many like premonitions where this would be the fucking soundtrack to it. And yeah, nah. Outro again though on the end of Stubber Dub. Way too fucking long. Overdrawn. There's no need. There's no need for it. You're not adding any mysticism to it. It's just kind of like boring me at this point in time.
Yeah.
But there you go. What did you have to say about Stubber Dub?
Stubber Dub. So this track actually holds a place in my heart, and I'll explain why. 10 years ago, the Rev died. A week after, there was a tribute video released with loads of like photos and little videos of him, and in the background they played songs by Avenged and Pinkly Smooth and other artists that he loved. I knew this song's on it, and I knew this was this was Mr. Bungle, but I never looked up the track. I just remember it, the family thing, family, and that's that. So when I heard this the first time, I was like, holy fucking shit, this is deep. So that's why it holds a plate in my heart. A nice plate of dinner, because that's the way to my heart. Yeah, so I knew it was never Mr. Bungle, but never knew which track it was. As usual, it's crazy with a lot of instruments used to create a unique sound. More style changes. One of the best tracks on the album, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's good. Whoa, my ass is on fire. So, okay, without knowing it, I actually am familiar with this one.
How are you?
Yeah. I feel like it was played at a party with the purpose of being torturous to somebody. I can't remember who, but they basically put it on repeat about 3 times in a row and forced somebody that didn't want to listen to it. So yeah, the minute this started playing, I was like, fuck, I've heard this. Where? And spent pretty much the entire song trying to work out where I'd heard it.
Right.
So yeah. It's actually pretty good, to be honest. Even the demonic gangbang of an outro.
Yes. Which leads well.
Yes.
Is that you done?
Yeah.
So yeah, My Arse Is on Fire is a much darker track than most on here. The lyrics, "Don't you fucking look at me," was pretty like, okay.
Alright,
it says pretty harshly, and it pushes on confrontation within the song.
There's a lot on it.
Yeah. There's a lot more screaming here. The track ends with Mr. Bungle himself just seducing a woman.
Yeah. Very very odd.
Yep.
And like you said, moves very nicely onto the girls of porn. Strangely catchy. I'm gonna get some. I got some. It's right there in my hand. Are quite possibly some of the strangest lyrics I've ever heard in a fucking song ever.
I love the lyrics to this song.
I'm gonna get some. I got some. It's right in my hand. Yeah. Did he literally just say, "Guys would love to fuck your shoe," or did I mishear that? Because I listened to that like 3 times.
Probably says it.
It literally said like, "Guys would love to fuck your shoe." I'm out. It's just getting a bit weird and almost not samey, but like that whole kind of like weird for the sake of being weird kind of set in a bit too much by this point.
So the Girls of Porn is self-explanatory. This track is about porn and masturbation. Don't listen to this track loudly in the car if you wish to avoid strange looks.
Are you speaking from experience?
No.
Oh.
I will tell you about a different song I listened to after this podcast, loud, that I quickly turned down.
Okay.
In fact, I'll just say it on here, but I'm not going to say the word because it's not a word I want to say this podcast. I listened to the soundtrack of Angry Boys in my car because I found it on Spotify, and there is a song called Squashed N-Bomb, but it does not say N-Bomb. And in my car, it's very loudly going, "Squashed N-Bomb, squashed N-Bomb. I feel like a squashed N-Bomb," but very loud. And it's the actor behind it is a white man who's dressed up as a black man, playing a rapper. But really, obviously, the people that heard this, I was just going down the street. Like, I just noticed when I looked out the windows, like someone walking past looking at my car. I was like, right, I'm gonna turn this down. It wasn't anything drastic, but it's the last time I did it.
Squashed.
I was like, oh, I've got this song on there. I listened to it, like, not intentionally listened to it, like, because of the lyrical content, but I just stuck it on and I went, oh yeah, there's loads of Smouse stuff on here. And then that came on and I was like, ah, this tune's so sick, and I didn't think about what's actually being said. So anyway, back to where I was.
tangential from the point at hand, but
Yeah, not
fucking worth it.
episode name. Squashed M-bomb. No.
Notice that I didn't write that one.
Yeah. So yeah, don't listen to the track loud in the car. Again, we have another track that ends. Oh wait, where am I? Yeah, one of the best tracks on the album, in my opinion. However, we do have.
Oh, the girls are porn.
Yeah, I really like it. I think lyrically it's fucking brilliant. We have another. Again, we have another track that ends with useless background noise, which kills excitement a bit.
Yep. Love is a fist.
I felt really weird one time.
Cool opening into a cool transition, almost normal sounding until the weird scratching comes in. I do quite like it though. So much suspense building up to another very weird and overdrawn outro though. I didn't like that. The kind of suspense building into nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Flattened me out.
So a good track with 2 minutes of the sound of a radio broadcast not needed.
Yeah, 100% agree. Is that all you got?
Yeah, that's all got to that point now.
Dead goon! I must admit, I'm kind of bored now. The weird for the sake of it vibe returns, and for 10 minutes, it's a bit much to hear 2 minutes of soft vocals and someone's creaky ass door. If I had dropped a tab, I'd be long gone for this world by now.
Yeah. Quite a slow track, which is unexpected going by what we've heard so far. Not one of the best tracks on the album, but I liked the outro of the song. And that is the album closer. So overall,
I literally just put, so what the fuck? Because I have no fucking words.
Okay.
What the fuck?
Overall, I love the wackiness and design of the tracks and how they're executed for the most part. The long silences or background noises add nothing to the songs though.
Yep.
Great alternation of styles all the way through.
For the sake of expanding on what the fuck, I will say the overdrawn outros really got to me after a while and definitely pulled this down quite a fair few marks. Love the weirdness, it's fine, but there was also an element of like, it's weird for the sake of being weird. Pinkly Smooth got such a high rating from me because it was like, this is weird because the Rev is a fucking nutcase.
It's all compact and all the instrumentals sound weird and it's all great. Yeah.
It is, yeah. This is just kind of like, what can we do to sound weird? Whereas I think Pinkly Smooth was like, I'm just gonna play, and that was literally the album.
Yeah.
And I love the originality and the normality of that, even though it was weird as fuck. This, not so much. So it's gonna get a 6 out of 10.
6 out of 10. Cool. So, for me, it's actually not the first time I reviewed this album. I reviewed it about 4 months ago. But I've taken what my review was then and listened to it again today, and listened to it a few times this week, and got a real thought for it. My marking stays the same as it did last time. This was in a private chat, so you don't know about it yet. It's still a 7 out of 10 for me. And they're one of Pinkly Smooth's biggest inspirations, and
yeah, I think
they just did it better.
Yeah, 100%. I would agree.
So we were going to bring you also tonight a few bands from the Decided Tournament round 2, but I always admit when I'm wrong and I'm fucked up. I keep forgetting every week to put the vote up for you guys, so that will be up tonight or tomorrow or Wednesday.
Or Wednesday or Thursday or Friday.
It will be up.
Maybe next week we'll tell you that we're just not carrying on.
It will be up. I will share it. Rob will fucking share it, and I'm gonna tag whoever voted last time. So next week I'm doing a pub quiz because we're fortnightly now. In 2 weeks' time.
Next episode.
Next time on the Scyther podcast. Jamie has burnt her leg, but how will she get out of the fiery house when the horse is locked inside? Tune in. Where the fuck did that come from?
I literally don't even want to know.
In 2 weeks' time we'll be back and we'll be doing the full second round for the Decided Tournament. So get your votes in when I post that fucking thing. And for our next reviews,
yes,
it's double unsigned week.
Ta.
This time
we've actually got quite a few to get through now as well.
Yeah, I asked a bunch of people today, Paige, and they're doing it. So next time, in 2 weeks' time, we're going to have a band called 3 Second Fuse.
Oh, okay.
Now, what they've been doing is been releasing a new track every single month this year. While it's not a specific EP, we'll be reviewing every single track they've released this year.
Pretty good.
Yeah, so in time we'll have I believe our 5th track. The May one will be out. There might even be a 6th from December last year, I'm not sure. But we'll be doing that. So that's 3 Second Fuse. And then second band we'll be doing, I don't actually know the name of the EP, but the band is called Band from the Club, or Band FTC.
Okay.
And that's band like BANNED, like
Yeah.
you're not allowed in, not
Not
with the
banned from
band
the
from the
club.
club. So we live here. So yeah, we'll be doing both of those, and it's gonna be very exciting, and you're all gonna love it.
It is actually really refreshing to be back on Unsigned Week.
Yeah. So make sure they share it. Because if they don't, we'll give them bad reviews.
Oh.
Tune in this Wednesday where Liam, just give a little spoiler alert, will be reviewing Slam Dunk
Yes.
in his written reviews. And on Friday we will not spoiler it because that's Thursday's announcement. Any reaction videos shall be up on YouTube. Nice. Toit. Good day to you, sir.
Nice tweet.
And
Good night.
madams.
Follow us.
Bye. Oh yeah, do all that shit. Love it. See you later.
Desire.